Dire team ban. Radiant team ban. Dire team ban. Radiant team pick. Dire team pick. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Reserve time.
Shadow Fiend.
Radiant team pick. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Reserve time.
Dusk.
Radiant team ban. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Dire team ban. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Radiant team ban. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Reserve time. Dire team ban. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Reserve time.
Dazzle.
Radiant team pick. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Reserve time.
Slada.
Dire team pick. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Reserve time. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Radiant team pick.
Necrophos.
Dire team ban. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Radiant team ban. Dire team pick. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Reserve time.
Race King.
Radiant team pick. 10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Reserve time.
Queen of Pain.
10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Prepare for battle.
Thank you, Coddle Guy. That's right, Game 3 between Monkey Business and Team Secret is finally here, and what seems to be kind of standard with Monkey Business games now is that we're going to have a very interesting draft. Blitz, your thoughts on the support Slardar?
It's okay. I think it's mainly just so that they could have been flexible, and they wanted to put, they wanted to pick the Darkseer as well. I think it's all right. You've got. I'm trying to think right now, because
I mean, if you look at what the potential of the offlane Slardar brings you, right, which really you just need, if you actually want to be just completely basic with it, you only really need Force Staff and maybe Blink Dagger by like 35 minutes. But everything else that the Slardar brings to you is his back and forth initiation and the amplified damage. You don't really require a whole lot of gold for that Slardar, especially if you have something else that allows you to initiate. In this case, the Tusk Snowball.
no, you see, there was actually, they didn't have a lot going on for them during the time being. Sorry, we just got distracted by the Slardar didn't have any farm at all, and he was still able to just make a ton of impact. And if Crick can do that, you know, at this point, Chris is one of the, he's so good at playing the 4 role.
Yeah, he's definitely been very diverse in finding his openings. If he actually just gets a couple of levels, I really feel like a lot of the advantage that Slardar offers you is with the Tranquil Boost sprint build that allows you to just so efficiently move around the map. I feel like when you play the offlane Slardar and you start moving around like that, you don't even mind when you don't
this
actually
is new.
get the kill.
I haven't seen this in so long. I'd ganked this early, but Weehaw sees it coming a mile away. Really good game sense.
Yeah, I mean, with the support still off map, you gotta say, okay, they're making a snowball play here. Highlight Eye was hiding himself aside. They're still gonna go for the snowball very deep in, but they've got the ability to jump in. Looks like one raise is gonna hit both of them. Nice deny. That is beautiful. And that means Weehaw actually jumps up to full souls.
Does! That's so clowny.
That is actually so amazingly good for Weehaw.
Baited. Highlight Die is just this next
What
level
a god.
genius. Honestly,
Die actually dies in the perfect way to just give an advantage to his team in the best way possible.
does he ever not die in the best way?
Yeah,
I just, that's hilarious that pans out for them. That failed gank just turns into 15 souls instantly for Weehaw. He didn't even have that much CS before that point.
No, he's only just now. He's only got 6 CS.
Alright, great stuff. Art for the Shadow Fiend.
Yeah,
That's just hilarious. I love Dota.
Meanwhile, in the top lane, we've got a Darkseer matched up against the Clockwork.
Weehaw might still go down.
Oh, he's Miracle. No, he doesn't have the blink.
Miracle's so aggressive in this mid lane.
Yeah, he just traded like an extra like 100 damage with those 2 right clicks for like 300 damage on himself. He's going to be forced to blow through the healing salve. Same kind of goes for the SF, but Miracle just going into double raises, no problem. Got the Shadow Strike.
For the dead.
Worth it, I guess.
It's definitely not. He doesn't have the bottle.
I don't know. Miracle's
100% wasn't
mindset
worth it.
just seems to be so aggressive. He's like, all right, I'll trade 100 damage for 200 of myself. It's okay.
The problem is that Weehaw, with all those souls and the fact that he's on the high ground, like normally you wouldn't see him get it this quickly. Like even at this point with 13 CS, he wouldn't have it. But he got it so early on that he can trade all of these hits with Miracle, and as long as he gets 1 or 2 raises off, he's gonna have an efficient trade. That actually makes a significant deal in this mid matchup, because now you've got the Queen of Pain who still doesn't quite have her bottle yet, and she's struggling right now. She's probably gonna get it after this last hit. No, she's gonna miss it, and this is just gonna delay it even more. The Shadow Fiend's got his. He's gonna get boots before as well, and this is gonna be like a 15-second earlier Bottle Crow.
Yeah. There
is a haste rune at top that neither of them see, which would significantly impact this matchup, but I doubt you just blind check for it.
The top lane has been pretty back and forth when it comes to CS. This is a Clockwork versus Darkseer. A lot of this is going to be Ion Shell spamming and Cog spamming back and forth, trying to burn through mana. But it's the bottom lane that's probably going to be a bit more interesting when it comes to action, just because there is maybe potential for them to kill the Necro foes. Well, at least there was before. I'm not sure now that he's actually got his level 3, the level 2 Death Pulse that gives you an extra 175 HP.
Miracle's getting really low.
Miracle almost gets taken out, but the snowball actually stops.
Oh, he's gonna just conveniently run into that haste rune.
Oh, look at that.
That's great. A minute 30 into the game, how often do we see in pro games where you just like happen upon the real rune?
Yeah.
Nobody checks it. This actually kind of makes the lane okay for him again. It's absurd. He just runs in there. If he gets a good rune at top too, you got kill potential. A DD rune or a regen would be perfect here. Give me that regen at top.
Yeah. You're really showing the downside of running these 2 very defensive supports in Dazzle and Lich, because against a lane that I would say is relatively weak, a Necrophos, like he's a squishy hero when you're providing a carry that actually brings his own stun to the table, it should be a fairly easy kill, but they weren't able to get that kill in the first 2 levels, and now it just seems pretty much impossible for this aggro tri-lane. They're just going to keep maybe 2 heroes in lane here trying to see us on the Wraith King and have the Lich rotate into middle to harass Miracle a bit, and again, probably stop some of the pressure from that tusked snowball in.
And this Clock is doing okay at top just because the chicken's been in use so often that Moon hasn't been able to get a soul ring off. So the Clockwork's doing okay, and part of the reason why I think Secret decides to go for these aggressive tri-lanes is because they can move Pylai Die mid, win the mid lane, and he can stack for the Shadow Fiend. And then the Shadow Fiend has a favorable matchup at bottom.
He's just going to be bursting down, double raises, they get the first blood there. Crit gets the 3-man stun, so he will be able to get out. But that was the invis rune picked up by Weehaw. That set everything up for them. In the meantime, Pylai Die, yeah, he's immediately going to be jumped on. Miracle knows, okay, I need to actually kill this hero that's sitting in the middle lane because SF made a rotation like that. And Lich does indeed take down from the Shadow Strike.
Yeah, and Fly smartly giving the last hit to Miracle. He knows there's almost no chance that he's getting out of that, so he secures it for his mid player. We want to try to keep the Queen of Pain relatively close in the game when it comes to last hits and just net worth. If the Shadow Fiend gets out of control, then it's really hard for the Queen of Pain to have impact, but Fly's gonna run in. He doesn't have boots. They have...
Oh, and they managed to get close quarters with him. Unfortunately, Pylai Die, maybe with a double raise, he's actually going to try and go for a number of right clicks and just hit the regular raise, and that'll be it. Miracle is going to blink himself back, just trying to threaten the SF and save his ally. Top lane looks like they're going to get a kill on Moon here. Managed to lock him inside the cogs after the stun from the Wraith King, set everything up. And Misery now hits his level 7, so he's free to roam around with that maxed out battery assault and hook shot.
We've seen them do this every game. They give Misery an okay matchup. They gank from early up so that he can have a lot of impact, and then they just swap lanes completely. They let Eternal Envy kind of become the one position once again. Pick him one of those heroes that are relatively self-sufficient. It's a Wraith King this game. This is a hero that you don't want to really devote a lot of time to ganking because of how tanky he is and his ultimate. So he's going to go up here to top, and now Misery can have a lot of impact because he's got such an early level 6. You've seen it do 3 games in a row, but in this mid lane,
Yeah, Wee's just going to be bursted down. Snowball stun, follow up from Crit as he sprints in, and Miracle even throws out the Sonic Wave, just making sure that the SF dies ahead of the potential save from the Dazzle.
Radiant's top tower
what
is under
a
attack.
trap set by them too. Crit was in perfect position for that. They've been looking for it all game, but now the Darkseer is actually going to go to the jungle. And this is really good for Team Secret right now because now they're going to rotate Crit up at top, but this shouldn't slow down EE's farm whatsoever. And the Shadow Fiend has a lot of jungle stacks that he can fall back upon, or at least one. Bottom.
Tail going to be caught here as he's going to see the first rotation of Misery be quite successful. Taking down the carry of Monkey Business is a great start for Team Secret.
Personally, I love that they do this for Misery. They secure him with some measure of farm. Because Misery is the type of player that it's not like a universe where you can just give him like 800 net worth and he'll make a lot of plays. You want Misery to be a really solid core. Like, this guy excels when he's given that opportunity, and we're seeing it right now. And you can see that their strategies, a lot of them are tailored around trying to get him early levels so that he can just go around and have a ton of impact. And this is sacrificing EE's farm a little bit, and I think a lot of people are blaming him, and maybe his plays aren't 100% optimal, but it's part of the sacrifice for your team too. When you're sent into the off lane, you have to contest every single time. Like, this is the 3rd game in a row where EE starts in the off lane, he has to go up to top.
Monkey Business. Split the runes here, the Battle Rune goes the way of the Queen of Pain. Misery, though, can make a lot happen with this haste rune that he just picked up. Doesn't have the hook shot for another 2 seconds. Does kind of spot out Moon, who is farming up. It looks like he actually pulls the creep wave, so they'll have to bring that one back to a tower somewhere.
Shadow Fiend just does Shadow Fiend things though. Spamming out lanes, leading in net worth.
As always, especially once he hits like level 7, you're going to see him start getting ahead. He actually goes for an early level of Presence of the Dark Lord, rather than the maxed out Necromastery and then a level of Requiem.
I think part of that is just because the Queen of Pain has really low armor to begin with. And just getting that single level, it could have been a misclick too. I think I'm more inclined to say that that was a misclick.
Yeah, because then you're trading off your minus armor. Yeah, -3 armor is pretty legit, but there's also an extra 7 souls that you could get from a maxed out Necromastery. So
You gotta try to explain things out though.
yeah. Or maybe it was one of those sort of like mid-team fight sort of scenarios. I can't remember if an SF ever got a level mid-team fight and still had to fight it out.
Misery's now been rotated into this mid lane. He's got Trinkles. Gonna go for the Blade Mail. Really good against this lineup. Can isolate out the Necro.
Yeah, Necropose especially because of the fact that your nuke acts as a heal and it's an AoE. Can't really control that too much. You kind of have to use it to heal yourself, but then that damage is going to be mitigated obviously by the Blade Mail, but you're going to hit the Clockwork. So it's a good way, and then you can't really Reaper Sight them. Even if the Clockwork is low enough, you can't afford to make that kind of play.
At top though, they're gathered up, doing some damage to this tower, but I think it's kind of unlikely that they get it. The Queen of Pain can rotate in. Darkseer's just kind of focusing on his own farm. Looks like he's going to go for the Force Staff first, and when you're playing against a Clockwork, that's sort of mandated. The one thing is that it means that No Tail actually has to get the mech, and this is the way that Team Monkey Business has been playing this tournament all week long, is just get a mech carrier, get aggressive early on, look for the 5-mans, and then once you get some control out of the tier 1 towers, look for these individual plays that they can go for. Like when they set up that 3-for-2 game at bottom and top. You can make moves like that once you have some control of the map.
Right. Miracle taking some damage, taking some abuse from Weehan, but he's got a regeneration to offset that. Should be fine, No Tail.
Dyer's top
It's actually trying to give up that battle rune to someone else. Looks like Crit is going to make sure that Weehan's not able to get that one.
Crit's already level 6 though. This is all you sort of need on the Slardar. You would like a mobility item, but they're probably going to grab towers, and if they get 1 or 2 good team fights, then he'll have his Blink or his Force Staff.
Yeah.
Pretty early on.
Yeah, I would say like level 9 is perhaps necessary for the Slardar, because just the level 2 sprint isn't quite enough. I mean, with Tranquil Boots it is for rotations around the map, but mid-fight I think you still need that maxed out sprint to really be effective as a Slardar.
There's no mech for the Shadow Fiend either. He's gonna go for the early SNY.
Why do you think that is? Because we very clearly don't have another mech carrier. Because Clockwork should be going blade mail. The supports are obviously just going to be too poor. Even if they do go for it eventually, it's not going to be a factor for 20.
I don't think it matters too much when a Dazzle on your team and a core like a Wraith King. And you're probably going to be the first hero bursted down. If you look at Team Secret's lineup, the majority of the damage, the sustained damage anyways, is going to come from the Shadow Fiend. So if he gets bursted down, he buys a mech for himself. And you have to use the mech when you're the only one that's low. It's not as efficient. Like, this is meant to be a team item.
Yeah, it's much more efficient to just have the extra 250 HP in stats. Right?
Yeah, exactly. And this allows them to scale a little bit better too. And it gives them a better damage source. Because if you look at their lineup, Wraith King's okay, but he's so easily kited. And he doesn't really have a lot of burst damage. So the majority of your damage early game is going to come from the Shadow Fiend. And you want him to have some damage items and for him to keep up, but Monkey Business, this is their strategy. They're going to grab this tower for free. They should be able to defend mid as well, and they're not going to really lose anything out of it, and this is where you really want to be.
Oh, nice hook shot. Misery actually snags Miracle after the blink, and that's a kill. Beautiful setup there. They had Weehan highlight die, move forward, force out the blink of the Queen of Pain, and Misery lands the hook shot shortly thereafter.
Really well played by him.
What do you think about the Wraith King's builds here? Instead of going like the Blink Dagger, which would have promoted aggression and pickoffs, or the Midas, which would have actually promoted like the faster level 16 for the Wraith King, and obviously keeping up farm despite he's not the best farming hero. Instead he's going for the very early blade mail. It seems he's anticipating Monkey Business being very aggressive with a build like this.
I don't know, man. Maybe he just goes for a YOLO Solar Crest. Who knows?
Solar Crest.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
I think the Blade Mail, though, it's okay. It does well against the Necro. It pretty much means that the Necro can't really fight you, especially if you've got two of them on your team. Yeah. You've always got mana as well. The stats from the item are okay, and they're going to send Eternal Envy here to this mid lane. This is what you want your Wraith King to do. Just soak up stuns, and you've got plenty of time to back them up. The most important part. Most cores would have just died here immediately.
Good stun onto No Tail. Follow up. Misery is going to make the commit here, but they manage to get the Force Staff and surge away. And No Tail is good. Who has that Force Staff? Moon already has it. So he didn't go for the early mech on the side of Monkey Business either. Force Staff, though, considering the one-on-one matchup, and as you said, like Team Secret like to be able to promote Misery a little bit in the early game, make sure he has a good start so he can be an effective core. This Force Staff very directly counters the amount of net worth that they invested into this Clockwork.
Yeah, that's true. And probably most importantly is, what do you really get on a Darkseer? Because your Necro is already getting the mechanism, so it's... Man, you just ignore me for like...
I mean, wouldn't it be worth it to actually
look
at other stat items?
They're gonna go for crit. I think he's gonna die here.
Yeah, no, he's gonna get the stun on Wei.
Oh, okay.
And he's good.
They guessed wrong. Sorry, what were you saying though about the mech on the Darkseer instead?
Yeah, wouldn't it be worth it to then be able to like stat up on the Necrophos? You could go items like, for example, Rod of Atos has been seeing a lot of value on these intelligence cores lately.
I think it's okay to go for it on the Necro though, especially if he's going to be the jump target. The Rod of Atos would be alright,
but isn't it the same kind of philosophy that you were talking about with the SF? Puppy, yeah, they're going to go for the kill on Pilot. He gets the Shallow Grave in time.
What a Shallow
not
Grave.
going to finish him off. And Fly, well, looks like he's going to make the commitment here. Sonic Wave is actually what gets the kill. Fly doesn't have anything to stop his own death, though. And he's going to be going down. Miracle cleans up a couple of those creeps and gets out. Misery coming in from the side. Looks like he landed his hookshot somewhere, but...
Tower is under attack.
As long as you have one of the... You kind of sort of just needed a Force Staff on one of the heroes against the Clockwork Blade Mail. And if you're comparing it to No Tail versus the Darkseer is going to make better use of it anyways. Because he's going to be sitting back. You want your Necro to be your frontliner. If he just gets stunned one time or caught out by the Clockwork, things get really tricky. Because then you can just chase down and he's going to die as soon as he Force Staffs anyways. But Secret right now, they've got decent control of this game. They're getting a lot of farm on their cores. Their Shadow Fiend is 1k ahead of the Queen of Pain. Clockwork is not that much further behind than the safe lane Necro is.
Yeah.
All in all, things are pretty good for them, and Misery's even going to run into No Tail, but without his Blade Mail, I don't think he can get a kill.
Yeah, he'll have that soon, another 450 gold. Speaking of which, Eternal Envy has his. We'll see him probably build into the Blink Dagger next.
I fear this Dark's here. I guess I don't play offlane as much as you, but if you skip the standard mech build, what is even the item? You go for a blink still, I think?
Yeah, I think you still go the Blink Dagger. You're gonna have, you have to be perhaps a bit more efficient on your Soul Ring, because you aren't going to have the early Arcane Boots. I think because you're not going mech, you don't go Arcane Boots, and then because you don't go Arcane Boots, I think instead you go Boots of Travel, eventually. But I think Blink Dagger is definitely the first item.
Alright, Eternal Envy is in no man's land, but this is the best part about having a Wraith King core, is that you always have time to respond to help him out. He's going to farm a little bit slower than a lot of these cores, just because he doesn't have that flash farming mechanic, and the mobility of the hero is really low. Like, those are the downsides if we just get them out of the way. But the upside is that you can always frontline for your team, you can bait out abilities, and you're almost never really in a gankable position, because your team will always respond. And you've got a Clockwork that pairs with it as well, which I think is part of the reason why. Because if Eternal Envy is caught out by himself, you've got a lot of different ways to long range initiate to bail him out.
At this point, do you just wait on the Blink Dagger for EE and then get really aggressive as Team Secret? Because you've got these double blade mails. You do want to try and force fights. They're going to see No Tail. He's going to be kind of gone on here, but Misery realizes he can't quite force it, especially since he still doesn't have his blade mail. It's coming in a second, and hook shot away. Nice. He actually gets Puppy there. The Snowball's still going to catch him out with the Ice Shards. Doesn't actually catch Misery, but gets Puppy instead. Puppy turns around.
Gotta get the Grave off.
He knows he has a Shallow Grave. He needs to be able to get it off ahead of the Reaper's side. No Tail doesn't throw it out just yet. Knowing the Shallow Grave was going to come in, he'll throw it now, though, as the Shallow Grave fades to get the kill on Puppy and add that extra 30 seconds. Still, though, the TPs are in from Team Secret, and they know how much is blown by Monkey Business. Already a 4-staff away. Moon still another right click. They need one more, but can't quite get it. The Rocket actually misses it well. Moon can't get the kill, and now the Snowball's onto a Wraith King. He's going to be able to get some distance, but big critical comes out from the Wraith King and makes it easy for them to be able to get a 1-for-1 trade-off. Still, though, Team Secret, can they continue forwards here as Miracle is sitting on the side here with what looks to be a haste room. He's dancing himself in and out, getting some damage on Team Secret, and just generally abusing them until they back away.
And somehow this Slardar has a Blink Dagger too. So it's quite difficult for them to actually engage this fight. Team Secret need a few more mobility items on their team to be able to do anything. And once the Clockwork expends his hook, and he had to do it there. I have no issues with Misery doing it there. Part of the problem is when you get caught out like that, you don't have the best recourse for re-engaging into the fight. You're pretty much at the mercy of slowly running at them, and everybody from Monkey Business just runs away. Big shout out to Fly there, actually, who's playing the Tusk. I thought it was crit for a second. You notice that as soon as the Chain Frost bounces in, he forfeits his life. He's like, I'm going to run completely to the right, make sure that we just don't get completely bounced on. That's one of the plays that you have a split-second decision to make, and it just helps out your team so much when you know that you've got a reliable member of your team that will tank that.
4-7 right now. We're approaching the 20-minute marker, and SF still hasn't hit that 10K that you usually like to see by 20 minutes, so his farm has been a little bit slowed down, but comparatively, he is still looking good, as he's ahead of the Queen of Pain, and the Wraith King is ahead of the Necrophos. So the Necrophos actually has a bit less farm than I expected, but he has died 2 different times.
He's just been pressured around the map a lot.
Yeah.
No Tail's been doing a pretty good job of not getting caught and finding good places to farm.
Is he going to be taken down here? He has a lot of stats and still has Magic Wand. They're actually going to go on a fly here with Misery, bumps him back with the cogs. Nice setup, and they'll be able to ensure that extra kill, but not really losing their SF4.
Yeah, that's well worth it right now for Team Secret. This Necro, though, point booster. I've seen Octarine pretty commonly, but that's usually when you have an Alchemist on your team, so you don't have to go for the Aghanim Scepter.
Yeah.
The Ags is really good, though, if you want to just go for the straight 5-man push. Timer, on top of the fact that if you get the last hit, the no buyback thing plays a huge part in competitive Dota.
There is less value in the Aghanim Scepter here because you have one hero who you potentially can't use Reaper Scythe in the Wraith King due to reincarnation, and then you have this really great saving mechanism with the Shallow Grave. I would normally be like very much, okay, let's go Aghanim Scepter right away, but I guess those 2 deterring factors make me almost think a little bit more about an Octarine core, which would be an awkward item to get so early on in the game.
I kind of agree with you. I like that assessment a lot. You got me, Cap.
we have any Glimmer Capes though? I mean, we talked about it, like, that was supposed to be the big joke, you know, earlier in 6.84. Oh, fly, push back, is gonna be slowed down. He still has the snowball, might just have to blow it here to buy some time, but no. He just dies straight up to the battery cell before he can turn around. The rest of Monkey Business, well, they're still trying to clear through the enemy jungle.
I think the Glimmer Cape is still okay, but the hero is more about just being able to 5-man behind it. So early on, you have a frontline tank that if you don't immediately burst down, you lose the fight. Yeah. It's so miserable to play against sometimes.
3,200 gold. Eternal Envy looks like he's going the Radiance build.
I like this. I think if you go for the Blade Mail into the Blink, you don't scale very well and you don't have that much damage. It's pretty much committing you to the mid game, and if you don't win the mid game, then what's your fallback? Then you get a farming item? That doesn't quite make sense to me, especially considering the pace of this game. Maybe if Team Secret were up like 10-1, he gets a Blink Dagger and then they press their advantage over and over again, but it's not like they have to look for fights. Like, Misery's been doing a really good job and alleviating a lot of this pressure.
No, I completely agree with you. If you have like the early hand of Midas build, I think that facilitates the aggression of like Blade Mail Blink Dagger a lot better, because you play aggressively, you're not farming as much, but you still keep that net worth high. If you play that same kind of build without the Midas, you very easily just fall off past 30 minutes if you don't have a good time. So I agree with you. I think the Radiance gonna be a better shot for the Wraith King, which means they'll have two very strong cores going into the late game, Shadow Fiend and the Wraith King. What are our chances though for Monkey Business late game? It still seems really good for them just based off the Necrophos Reaper site. That seems to be one of those factors that you can never just have a better late game than that.
Yeah, if you can get this hero to the late game at a decent pace and you're not super far behind where it doesn't really matter, it's still really good because all you need is that one fight, and then you've got the numbers advantage no matter what. Pretty silly actually, but part of the problem with the hero is just agility and trying to keep it alive during this farming phase. Because look at the difference between how Eternal Envy is able to farm and how No-Tail's been able to farm. It's not that No-Tail's behind because he's a worse player, it's just the type of lineup that they have where the Wraith King can farm really aggressively and... Oh no!
Beautiful timing there from Misery. A rocket comes out and the 5-man smoke of Monkey Business is spotted.
Is there even a point anymore? Just
yeah, let's be real. They could just go in and farm middle. Oh, but look at this. Team Secret now taking the next step. They see what has happened, and they know Monkey Business are probably going to be playing aggressively in the secret shop area. Team Secret are going to try and catch them when Monkey Business come back through this cliff area.
This is so awkward right now for Monkey Business. The timing of seconds right now. They're trying to run around as fast as they can. They are going to run into Miracle. Miracle's going to get a smoke popped, but should just blink out, and this might be a pretty clean disengage depending on the way that the rocket moves.
Oh, don't tell me.
Just send EE first.
Team Secret?
You don't want your SF here?
How's going to be the initiation? That's not what they want to see still, though. He does get healed up. And nice initiation from Misery. He managed to lock him down. Snowball out, though, and they will go on a puppy a little bit, but delaying up No-Tail's death. Looks like he's going to be able to get off the Reaper site, but it's not enough. Misery easily survives, and No-Tail will go down eventually here as Misery right-clicks away at him. Eternal Envy is still going strong here, but it looks like the rest of Monkey Business have retreated, just leaving their Queen of Pain and their Necrophos to die. Rather surprised, but such a great initiation there from the Clockwork, locking so many heroes into the cogs.
That 3-man hook into the cogs, that just completely destroys the fight for Monkey Business.
I feel like that was a slight mistake by Fly, not picking up the Necrophos in his snowball.
Yeah, and I think the bigger mistake is the fact that they decided to stick around when Team Secret wants to take that fight. Because they know if it comes to a 5-man fight, you've got heroes that are pretty unkillable right now. You've got Dazzle that keeps everybody alive. The Clockwork is really hard to kill because of his Blade Mail, so you're not going to burst him down. The Wraith King, you don't want to talk about that right now. He's level 14, almost 16.
Yeah. If it's engagements where Team Secret is able to, like, you know, chess pieces on a board, set up their players where they want them to be, it seems like they're going to be impossible to beat. The only way that Monkey Business could come out on top is if they're able to get that kind of smoke initiation where, you know, they catch the Dazzle first and are able to take that Shall Grave away, and then they have a Reaper Scythe to take someone else out.
That was really well set up by Team Secret, though. Great individual plays by them. Honestly, Misery, he played that fight perfectly, and you saw at the same time Puppy got that grave just in case. This is kind of the weakness of the Necro, is that if he gets isolated out like that, he gets bursted so quickly, and all of a sudden your highest net worth hero goes down without a fight. It's hard for him to keep up because of all of these Blade Mails. You can't just needlessly spam that Q like you'd want to.
Yeah.
You have to be afraid of who it hits.
I was gonna go back to this. Does that give more credence to the like a BKB sort of build on the Necrophos? Is there enough magic damage to warrant that? And then what about the Guardian Greaves? When do you finish that up? Because you do have some two heavy, hard-hitting physical damage heroes. As Crit's gonna be caught, and there's no escape. When you go for the Blink Dagger, you leave yourself rather susceptible to this one. Mech actually comes out. Maybe the heal from the Invisibles. It's gonna be able to get to Crit. Now the turnaround Misery's gonna go down. And good pickup as they manage to save the Slardar's life and take the Clockwork out of the game for 80 seconds.
That was surprising. I actually thought that Team Secret would be prepared, but they were really far behind, and they didn't have the best heroes to catch up to that Clockwork, because again, you don't have a Blink on your Wraith King or your Shadow Fiend quite yet. So when he goes out into no man's land like that, it's almost always going to be an isolated fight. And for a second, it looked like Monkey Business was going to ditch because they thought Secret was closer. Yeah. But when they realized that nobody else was hitting the Slardar, just everybody filter in. So you need to start getting some Blink Daggers on the team to kind of help out that Clockwork when he goes in. And that'll probably be Eternal Envy's next priority.
It almost feels like we're going to see the Ags for No-Tail. Just because he's holding on to so much gold. We haven't seen him buy anything just yet.
I mean, he can split it up. He's got Arcane Boots. So you split the Arcane Boots.
Oh, true.
You're only 800 gold now behind. It's the same thing anyways.
Yeah, I'm just really curious, just because he does have so many item choices to go for.
Yeah, that's going to play the biggest part right now. The direction that this Necro decides to go. This team is actually up in net worth.
Maybe for the Quap.
The Starks here has a lot. Looks like he's going to go for... He can go for the Lotus Orb or the Hex here. But I think the Hex has a lot of utility here.
Yeah,
I don't know why I
with
said
the
Lotus Orb.
Yeah, you meant Lincoln's?
Yeah.
Especially with the amount of mobility that you have in the Darkseer, I think Scythe of Ice has a lot more value. The Blink initiation.
Blink Scythe, one of the strongest things in the game. You just want control too against Team Secret's lineup.
Yeah.
But the pace of this game has kind of slowed down a little. It looks like Secret are going to go for a smoke of their own, ramp things up. You want to make use of this Aegis. They just haven't been able to so far. And pace of the game has almost slowed down too much because you got to wait for Misery to respawn. But
oh, Slider. Whoa, the BKB. Nice timing there from Weehaw. He turns around, gets a lot of damage on a crit. In fact, he'll solo kill him. Great setup there. It's kind of awkward because the rest of Team Secret are smoked up.
You got to push him back.
Find Miracle, but blinks himself away. Misery, oh, we found him. He got the Force Staff in range. Miracle didn't pop the BKB, thought he didn't need it. And now he's still going to be stuck here. A blink up in another 3 seconds, hiding himself in the trees, but they revealed him as much as possible. And just the straight right clicks of the support dazzle. It's enough with all that minus armor.
Really well done by Misery, chasing that one through. Realizes that that was the most likely direction that he goes in.
And only Miracle had popped that BKB. But
yeah, that's...
wanted to keep the charge.
That's so huge. 10-second BKB cap.
Yeah.
Would you have just gone for the safety one, even if it's 10-second BKB? I guess with so many heroes there.
Yeah.
Dire's top tower is under attack. Radiant's bottom tower.
Maybe he didn't think there was going to be so many behind him.
That was pretty surprising.
Alright, so that means we're going to see this tier 2 going down as well, Eternal Envy. It's 2,500 gold, so still, it seems like we're playing the item guessing game here. Alright, what? Oh, okay, so No-Tail bought something. Is this a complete Octarine core? Or no, he actually goes to the BKB. Okay.
I like that decision a lot, actually.
Yeah, against double blade mails, I think it makes a lot of sense.
All blade mails and the Clockwork. You just want to make sure that you can survive for your team to actually help out. But this is a fighting item. This is not a farming item.
No. Which means we're probably going to be seeing Monkey Business try and force some fights. Do they have a smoke left? Not in their shot, but they do have one on fly. So if they wanted to, they can try and force some sort of quick pick-off, get a Reaper Scythe kill, and then turn that into an objective of some sort. Blink Dagger finally here for the Wraith King. I thought he was going to go Blink Dagger a while ago, but he just held on to a lot of gold first. Miracle initiated on. If he got a critical, he might have actually taken him out, but...
that is so much damage.
Yeah, the rotation from Monkey Business. Looks like they were thinking about it. Instead, they go middle. Crit has already got the initiation on a Puppy to follow up here as Moon comes in. Vacuums onto 2. Mystery, though, managed to push back Crit Snowball right over him into the ledge. Pylai Die, though, gets a good force stab over the cliff. Will be able to survive because of that. Look at the physical damage. With the Weave taking him down, the physical damage of Weehaw just ripping apart these heroes. They finally do get a Reaper Scythe kill, but it's 3 for 1 so far in the favor of Team Secret. And they're even going to chase down for more. Looks like the Wraith King, well, he doesn't have his Blink Dagger up, so the Clockwork, or rather the Queen of Pain, will be able to get away just fine. But Team Secret can now take a tier 2.
You've got the, and this is what I was talking about, you needed the Blink Daggers on both the cores, and you see that Weehaw and Eternal Envy immediately follow up their builds. Because it's not damage that they lack, it's just the ability to continue chasing after the Blinking Queen of Pain, or the mobility of a hero like Darkseer and Slardar. And now that they've got these items, they're just going to get so aggressive, and Monkey Business's lineup, it's not well adapted to be able to deal with that kind of aggression, because they don't have any heavy sort of burst damage aside from the Queen of Pain, but she's really weak right now, and a lot of these BKB charges, big.
So that'll be 2 different tier 2s for Team Secret, and a pretty dramatic jump downwards in net worth now. Their advantage. They could probably just sit back, wait on the next Roshan before they try and push uphill. This is really where Team Secret hit their big swing, I think, was supposed to be the 30 to 45 minute marker. You go later than that, you have to really start worrying about the effect of Reaper Scythe with an Axe upgrade. But I think this is where these 2 physical damage dealers are going to be the strongest, because they still have a lot of potency with their magic damage as well at this point.
Alright, so right now Weehaw just continuing to farm non-stop. Things are getting a little bit tricky here right now for Monkey Business, because part of the issue with their lineup now is that Secret have the dire side advantage, so Roshans are so easy for them to take. You still have the Necrophos, which is one of, we talked about it ad nauseum, is one of the better late game heroes, because if you just get a really clutch Reaper Scythe with Aghanims, you're always going to have the numbers advantage, but as time goes on, it's going to get harder and harder to execute those fights where you're actually able to burst somebody down. This Puppy is one of the best supports in the game, completely understands how critical that is for him to get the Shallow Grave off.
And that's really where Moon is going to have to come into play.
Exactly.
He's got a lot of farm, he's got the Blink Dagger, he's going to go for the Scythe of Ice that we're talking about earlier, but it's going to be his vacuum wall combinations when eventually Team Secret get enough control that they're willing to push high ground. That defense by Moon is going to be what allows Monkey Business to stay in this game and maybe win game number 3, or Team Secret move on to the grand finals.
Still not really a 10k lead. Monkey Business is still in the thick of things. It's just that this Wraith King is going to get progressively harder to deal with, especially once he has his Assault Cuirass. Killing him twice before his team just does a ton of damage to you is going to get pretty hard.
Yeah, that's actually pretty significant, seeing like even your supports actually have a good amount of physical damage. Like the Slithering Crush is physical, the Walrus Punch from the Tusk is physical as well, so it's just some of those minor factors. Miracle snags the Haste Rune away from Wheat.
And it's off.
We got a lot of BKB charges on both teams. The Necro still has his 9-second one, but once you start entering that 5-second territory, things become pretty tricky for Team Monkey Business.
Roshan up, 15 seconds. No Tail's getting close. I mean, he's got the level 3 Reaper Scythe, so if he gets another 500 golds, he can get the Ags.
Boon Shards up on Eternal Envy. This is the build that we saw aggressive to, and I like it a lot. It was something that I was going to mention. Before he got the blink, I thought he was going to go for the straight Moon Shards. I think that if you...
Okay.
The amount of attack speed that you get is absurd. It's not even, this item isn't even about the fact that you run out of item slots, it's that you can transition it into that when you need to.
Yeah, and if you look at it just from perhaps single target focus, I guess there is more damage output from the Moon Shard than the AC. Not obviously as great like high ground pushing potential with that minus armor affecting the tower alongside the SF's damage, but I don't think that's really something they need to worry about too much. They have really good high ground pushing potential between the SF and the Wraith King on the front lines.
I think the biggest thing is that it makes it so you can no longer ignore this Wraith King. You have to pretty much get into a straight engagement with it.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, he's just going to 2-shot, 3-shot some of your team. You don't have a hero like Dazzle that's going to be able to save, and you've got the Tusk Snowball, I guess, but that's the best option that you have in stopping this rampaging Wraith King. But with his Blink Dagger up and his team able to follow up so quickly, gonna get pretty hard, and it looks like Team Secret, they just want to scour out their jungle See if they can find a pick off. Push out the lanes a little bit. They're gonna see a lot of heroes here.
Satanic for the SF with another 2k gold behind it.
Gonna get travels, I think.
It's looking really pretty. Oh yeah, he's running out of slots. So Boots of Travels, it is.
They're all so tanky on the side
wow.
of Team Secret.
I think Puppy is planning on building into a Lotus Orb. So you're talking about taking off the Amplify damage, which is really big, and then potentially reflecting back the Reaper Sight. A lot of the times, Necrophos is full HP when that happens.
That'd be amazing. That actually pans out into something good.
Yeah.
First dead for 200 seconds. Take that. There's a Hex
Does
completed.
Does it reflect the Aghanim's upgrade?
I don't... Maybe. I think it's a straight 1-to-1, but I have no idea.
Yeah.
He's getting the Octarine core anyways.
Who is? Oh, the Necrophos. That's probably better for him. Again, the importance of the Reaper Sight isn't as big in this game. Miracle gets caught. They have to fickle the M to actually finish him off before he blinks away. Doesn't look like it. He has a TP in a second. They're not going to try and chase him down unless they rock it.
No, Misery's got a hook shot in one.
Oh, not gonna happen.
Oh, that was so close. Could have been a huge pickoff for them, but he's good. And he didn't have to be a blow BKB charge.
Are they actually going for this? I mean, they know a lot of members of Team Secret aren't around, but you're not going to deal enough damage to eat through his reincarnation and him a secondary time. And because he's got level 19, he's got the level 3 reincarnation. Taking that one away doesn't mean much. It's only a 60-second cooldown.
That's so great for EE, because like they can't get up, they can't get on top of him. Any other core there, he dies. But because he's playing the Wraith King, you don't know on Team Monkey Business if it's even worth it. Because worst case scenario, his entire team comes in. Best case scenario, you burn through a 60-second cooldown ultimate. Yeah. That just comes up anyways, and then he comes back and pushes you for the high ground because you've used a lot of your abilities.
Can we talk about Miracle's build? He finishes up the Aghanim Scepter. Why not the AC build?
I think he just wants more burst and a little bit more stats.
And it is perhaps a bit better when it comes to prolonging the game in a way, because you can just burst down creep waves, especially when they go for the push.
Does well against the BKBs too.
Yeah.
But Weehaw still has that 9-second BKB. Team Secret, they're trying to push out their waves. Crit's in position here, but Weehaw's just going to TP in. They've still got the Aegis, but they're getting a lot of map control right now. If you're wondering why they're not just going for the 5-man push off the bat, they're just going to get steadily further and further ahead.
Yeah, as you can see, without any kills, this net worth graph, it's been steadily declining to Team Secret's favor.
Alright, this might be a pretty decent opportunity. Eternal Envy is so far away from the rest of his team.
He's going to run into Fly here, unable to get off the snowball, and he's just going to be potentially bursted down. Gets off the snowball just in time. That's going to be able to buy him some sort of time, and he's not going to be able to blink himself away, unfortunately, because he doesn't have it. Moon will Force Staff and TP himself out. Pick off on the Tusk might be what Team Secret need to push uphill now.
That's unbelievable. That's a 2v5 fight that they have to run away from. And again, you're seeing the beauty of the Wraith King right now. There's not a whole lot that Monkey Business can do. Still got the Aegis.
Defensive Force Staff play from Slardar, not quite setting things up. Now Eternal Envy actually jumps in, the Cogs not quite trapping these heroes in. Monkey Business are pushed back. Now they're going to make the reinitiation. Look at that. He misses the stun. But there's no real follow-up to that one. Miracle's forced to pop the BKB. They do manage to take out the Dazzle at the very least, and everyone else is incredibly low. Miracle diving in pretty fearlessly, though. He's got to be careful with the physical damage, especially Miracle Force Staff, Cogs, and the Rays finish them off. They've taken out 2, and now the BKB blown by No Tail, unable to really get anything good here as he's going to be stunned up. Good Force Staff save perhaps from Moon. Ice Shards actually takes out the Wraith King and delays that reincarnation. Now they're going to immediately start to bice him up and try and turn onto him. Weehaw actually takes away the Slardar. Need to try and save with the snowball. They actually push him back into the wall. Now they're going to be able to win this fight, it looks like, as the EE will finally go down. Great setup. Wee comes back thanks to that Aegis, but it's only him, and it seems like it's very likely that Monkey Business will be able to defend with these 2 heroes, especially if Weehaw, he doesn't know what buybacks are available. There is one on the Necrophos. If they manage to get Weehaw low enough, they buy back, they go for Reaper Scythe here in another 13 seconds.
He's got a BKB blink available though. This is not a, you don't want to really force this buyback, in case, because you got a 15-second cooldown on the Slaughter Dart coming back in. You really don't want to just all-in chance on the fact that he doesn't KB up, but he's going to go for the buyback, and look this, and he just gets out.
Wow, I can't believe they went for that. They needed the initiation. They needed to make sure that we wasn't going to escape. He makes sure to pop his BKB before TPing away because he knew how big forcing out that buyback and getting away was.
Alright, so things become incredibly dangerous for Team Monkey Business now. But yeah, you killed Eternal Envy, but now he's got a Basher. He's got a lot of gold backing him up. The Shadow Fiend now picks up his Boots of Travel too. I'd imagine he goes for either the Scotty or the Butterfly. I think he needs some attack speed. But if the Necro dies, if you're Team Monkey Business, the game now ends. That was a lot to risk killing the Shadow Fiend on, especially one that he had the BKB available. I guess they just didn't, it was really hard to track. And Weehaw, he did such a job of it.
Power staff for the Tuss now. Really needed that one. Seems like his initiations. He should have been stuck in these scenarios where he's not able to get out after he snowballs in.
Still kind of okay for Monkey Business. They might look to smoke pretty soon and get aggressive before the Roshan pops, because I don't know if you struggled so hard to kill Weehaw twice to begin with. He didn't even have to expend the BKB there. But maybe that I think that Secret almost played a little bit too aggressively, and Puppy was caught out by the Reaper Scythe. If that doesn't happen, I think Team Secret stomped the fight. But you can't give up the Aegis, I feel. You know the Secret, they're just playing around that fact.
Yeah. So still a couple more minutes for Roshan. No Tail's going to push out in the top lane. Looks like Team Secret are just going to kind of stay grouped up. If they see a here that's pushing out too far, they'll probably go for the pickoff. Keep waiting. I know he has the Perseverance. Or no, he just has the Ring of Health. So Puppy still looks like a good recipe away. Monkey Business is actually going to run in. They're going to be able to find Puppy. They snowball in. Weehaw pops his BKB. Let's lose the ultimate. Misery's right in the middle of everything and will be able to get the cogs on a fly to ensure that one kill. But they're still well set up to be able to get a Reaper Scythe kill, perhaps.
No Tail can't die here.
No, Misery actually managed to get the force snap out. No Tail. He's got no buyback. They can't afford to lose him, but he dies anyway. Monkey Business now in the retreat. Moon gets the surge away, but they still have Blink Daggers coming up in a second, but so too does Moon. He's going to be able to get out, but it's still another 70 seconds until the Necrophos is back up.
This is so rough for Monkey Business now.
Oh, Miracle, this is perfect. He needed a really great pickoff like that because they were just going to get 5-mans immediately.
I think they still head down the mid lane. Eternal Envy has 2 lives to work with. The Shadow Fiend without half of Monkey Business is dead right now.
So that's going to be full lane of Rags here. Monkey Business will be able to chance a defense on a second lane of Rags, but it's going to be 4 versus 4 if they do so.
Miracle doesn't have the ult either.
And the tier 3 is already down before they even revive. Now they're up now. Let's see if they go for it. Wraith King has that reincarnation ready to go, and doesn't look like they're going to go. And I almost kind of agree. I think that just would have been the end of the game straight up without your Necrophos.
Yeah. Well, luckily they're able to make one more defense for the last set of racks, but you're gonna run into an Aegis the next time. It's not Aegis and Cheese, right? It's just one?
I think it's Aegis and Cheese. It's pretty late into the game. Maybe you're right.
They're gonna have so much money to work with.
They have Abyssal on the Wraith King, so he's gonna be able to blink Abyssal, the Necrophos, or perhaps the Queen Pain.
All of these items filtering in. Puppy's finally got his Lotus Orb. Yay.
There it is.
Alright, for Team Monkey Business, I think the game plan now is just go for that Miracle hold that they did in the fight mid. I don't even know how they quite held that against the Aegis and the double life of the Wraith King. It's almost like you're dealing with 9 separate lives.
Yeah, I think part of it was they got 2 different vacuums into the same wall, right? The fight drew out for that long that they were able to do that. It's pretty absurd.
They've got a Hex now, or they've had a Hex, but the Hex is a pretty big deal on the Darks here. The Necro, he's running out of BK charges, but if he can get a good ultimate off and survive, Monkey Business might be able to force something, but Team Secret, I'm not gonna lie, they definitely have to mess up a little for this game to swing in favor of Monkey Business. They might even want to fight at that Roche area, rather than Chance just going for the high ground defense, because it's going to be kind of hard to fight against all of these lives. It is Aegis and Cheese, you were right.
11 to 23, 45 minutes in, over a 20,000 gold lead for Team Secret, 17,000 experience. Clockwork is actually, he's going it off to Re. So, that brings you down to a 9-second cooldown for the shot.
Have you ever
That's
done
not
that build?
bad. I don't think so. No.
Makes all your cooldowns really nice and manageable.
Yeah. So more cogs, more hook shots.
Puppy.
The other ability is not quite as important.
Okay, so Puppy takes the cheese. I thought it'd be the other way around. This could be the second straight finals that we see Team Secret in.
Yeah. We have the data list now for the SF, and all things are coming together for Team Secret to finish this game out. Just got one lane of racks left. They're already starting to 5-man through that lane. Monkey Business, there's not much hope of really split pushing or anything like that. They don't really have the heroes to do so. So there's no other tactic but just straight defense for Monkey Business.
It's the true defense of the ancients. That's the name of the game, Cap.
Haha, it's like when they say the name, the title of the movie in the movie.
I thought they were gonna say Rogue Nation more than once. I can't believe I made that bet, but here they go.
He's just bouncing to the middle lane to make sure it stays pushed up.
That's DD rune too. Oh boy. Grab it and go.
Yeah.
Looks like they want to give it to their Shadow Fiend. As soon as you grab it though, that's go time.
I mean, he's got boots of travel, so they could probably just... They should smoke up. Weehop picks up the DD and TP's in as they go. Oh, okay, they're gonna give it to the Wraith King instead.
Alright, you're not gonna find a better scenario than this.
It really is.
Secret
Like...
keep finding DDs.
Alright. Waiting for that one pickoff though. Monkey Business. Team Secret just disappear from the top lane.
Where could
you
they
gotta
be?
feel that's pretty, yeah. You gotta feel it's pretty obvious. It's like, they really just gonna keep farming? No. Smoke is there, missed hook shot. Not that Misery really cares, of course.
Alright, they're in this top area now. And that double damage is about to run out. Do have Glyph available. That's the plus side.
Well, their Secret are slowly but surely chipping it away, and they don't want to blow the Glyph. Just jump in. Misery's just going to Kongs back some heroes, and now they jump onto Eternal Envy with the Slaughter. Get some amplify damage up on him. But Monkey Business is staying as a very tight-knit group behind their tier 4 towers. Team Secret kind of pushing it a little bit.
You've only got one opportunity in this fight if you're Monkey Business.
Yeah.
Any hero just gets picked off for free, and you probably lose the fight. You need the numbers game really badly. And a lot of this is just going to come down to Moon, what kind of initiation him and Crit are able to hook up for. Because if you can get that Darkseer Vacuum Wall onto multiple heroes with the Crush, you can still conceivably win this fight.
Snowball's safe, but they got the snowball into the melee creep. And now the Abyssal on a Miracle. They can't afford to lose him, which is why they side the Bison, chains down Eternal Envy as much as possible. A good Lotus Orb comes out from the Dazzle and actually be able to prevent that nice wall vacuum combination onto 3. But Weehaw just pops the BKB, let's lose the ultimate. Miracle is going to be almost going down here. Oh, the chain bots! It bounces back to him and the other Misery. He's going to go down as well, but still he's got that Aegis. He'll come right back ready to fight. And Team Secret, they've taken it. GG. They'll move on to the grand finals here at MLG New Orleans.
What a redemption game for Eternal Envy. The second game he might have struggled a little bit on the Ember Spirit, but that Wraith King, it was really clean, really well executed by Team Secret. They knew the pace of the game and how they had to push it, and they go to the same strategy 3 games in a row. Works out for them in the end.
And for me, I was going into this series seeing it as a test to Monkey Business and seeing if they could, in a series like this that is going to be a lot about the draft and tactics in game, they would be able to stand up against the strategy of Team Secret. And I would say they put up a good fight. I mean, that game 2 was especially dominant by them, but still,